An unexpected touch that sparked desire neither expected. The uninvited guest. The hammer fell with rhythmic precision against glowing metal, sending sparks dancing through the dimness of the forge. Cale Rivers wiped sweat from his brow, his focus entirely on shaping the iron blade taking form beneath his skilled hands. At 34, he perfected the art of solitude. His only companions were fire, metal, and the mountain winds that howled through Thornwood Valley. Thunder cracked overhead, closer than before. Cale glanced toward the open forge doors where rain had begun falling in sheets, turning the path to his cabin into muddy streams. He'd need to close up soon, though the blade required another hour of work. A figure appeared through the downpour, stumbling, clearly exhausted. Cale's jaw tightened. Visitors never came this far up the mountain. The woman collapsed against his doorframe, auburn hair plastered to her face, traveling cloak soaked through completely. "Please," she gasped, emerald eyes desperate. "I need shelter. Just until the storm passes." Cale wanted to refuse. He'd built this life specifically to avoid moments like this: human connection, messy emotions, the risk of caring again. But even his hardened heart couldn't turn away someone in genuine danger. The temperature was dropping fast. "Fine. Inside." He gestured curtly toward his cabin adjacent to the forge. "Don't touch anything." Lionel Moss followed him through the rain, grateful despite his obvious reluctance. Inside, warmth from a crackling fireplace enveloped her immediately. The cabin was sparse but well-maintained, rough-hewn furniture, shelves of metalworks in progress, and notably, no personal touches anywhere. "There's dry clothes in the chest by the window," Cale said without looking at her. "I'll stay in the forge." "Wait," Lionel reached toward him, seeking human kindness after the terrifying journey through the storm. He turned exactly as she extended her hand, and their fingers brushed, just barely, accidentally. The contact lasted only a heartbeat, but electricity shot through both of them. Cale jerked back as if burned, something flickering in his storm-grey eyes before his walls slammed back into place. "Just stay warm," he muttered, disappearing into the rain before she could respond, leaving Lionel staring at her tingling hand, wondering what just happened. Walls beginning to crumble. Morning arrived with persistent rain drumming against the roof. Lionel woke on the simple cot near the fireplace, wrapped in thick wool blankets that smelled of pine and wood smoke. Through the window, she could see Cale already working in the forge, his silhouette backlit by orange flames. She found bread, cheese, and dried fruit laid out on the wooden table, a silent offering. Her heart softened slightly toward her reluctant host. After eating, she ventured to the forge entrance. "The storm hasn't passed," Cale said without turning from his work. "Roads will be impassable for another day at least. I'm sorry for the intrusion." Lionel stepped closer, genuinely apologetic. "I'm Lionel, by the way. I travel collecting medicinal plants. I was searching for moon-petal sage when the storm caught me." Cale finally looked at her, and she noticed the weariness etched into his handsome, weathered face. "Cale. And moon-petal doesn't grow this high up the mountain." "It does, actually. In limestone caves near waterfalls." She smiled slightly. "I've been researching it for 3 years. My mother suffered terrible joint pain before she died. I want to help others avoid that suffering." Something shifted in his expression, recognition of shared loss perhaps. "My wife died 5 years ago. Fever took her in 2 days." The words came out rough, unpracticed. "Haven't had much use for conversation since." They stood in comfortable silence as rain continued falling. Lionel watched him work, fascinated by the strength and precision in his movements. When he reached for a different hammer, she instinctively handed it to him. Their fingers touched again around the wooden handle, longer this time, deliberate. The tool slipped, clattering to the stone floor. Neither moved to pick it up. Cale's calloused thumb traced across her knuckles, so gentle it contradicted everything about his gruff exterior. "I shouldn't," he started. "But you want to," Lionel whispered, completing his thought. He pulled away, but slower than before, and she saw the internal battle raging behind his eyes. "Help me with the bellows," he said finally. "If you're staying another day, might as well be useful." They worked side by side through the afternoon, and every accidental brush of shoulders, every shared glance, built something neither could name but both felt growing stronger with each passing hour. The confession in firelight. Evening settled over the mountains like a soft blanket. Kale and Lionel sat across from each other near the fireplace, bowls of stew warming their hands. The storm had gentled to steady rain, creating a cocoon of intimacy in the small cabin. "Why here?" Lionel asked softly. "Why isolate yourself so completely?" Kale stared into the flames. "Because caring hurts too much. When Elena died, I felt like someone ripped out half my soul. Easier to feel nothing than risk that pain again." "But you're not feeling nothing now." It wasn't a question. His grey eyes met hers, and the vulnerability there stole her breath. "No, I'm not. And it terrifies me." Lionel set down her bowl and moved to sit beside him on the worn rug. "I've been running too. Different reason. Same result. I keep moving so I never have to stay, never have to let anyone close enough to lose them." "We're quite a pair," Kale said with a hint of dark humor. She laughed softly, and the sound seemed to surprise him. When had he last heard genuine laughter in this cabin? Lionel noticed a burn mark on his hand, fresh, angry red against his tanned skin. "Let me help." She reached for his hand before he could protest, pulling a small tin of salve from her pouch. Her touch was feather-light as she applied the ointment, but her fingers lingered, tracing the lines of his palm, the calluses earned through years of solitary work. Kale's breathing changed. "Lionel." "I know," she whispered. "I feel it too." He cupped her face with his other hand, thumb brushing her cheekbone. "I haven't felt alive in 5 years. Then you stumbled into my life, and suddenly I'm feeling everything at once. Is that so terrible?" Her voice trembled slightly. "Yes. No. I don't know anymore." His forehead touched hers, and they stayed like that, breathing the same air, teetering on the edge of something that would change everything. Then Kale closed the distance and kissed her, tentative at first, asking permission, then deeper as she responded with equal hunger. It was a kiss filled with years of loneliness, fear, hope, and the terrifying possibility of healing. When they finally pulled apart, both were shaking. "Stay tonight," he breathed against her lips. "Not in the forge. Here. With me." Lionel answered by kissing him again. Surrender to desire. The fire cast dancing shadows across the cabin walls as Kale lifted Lionel gently, carrying her toward his simple bed in the corner. Rain continued its rhythmic percussion against the windows, the storm wrapping around them like a protective shell, isolating them from the world beyond these walls. He set her down carefully, as though she might break, then hesitated. "It's been so long since I don't want to rush this." Lionel reached up, pulling him down beside her. "Then we won't rush." Her fingers traced the strong line of his jaw, exploring the face she'd memorized over 2 unexpected days. "We have all night." They undressed each other slowly, reverently, each revealed piece of skin a gift offered and received. Kale's hands trembled as they moved across her shoulders, down her sides, relearning the geography of intimacy he denied himself for years. Lionel gasped softly at his touch, her body responding to the barely restrained passion she felt building between them. "You're beautiful," he whispered against her neck, his breath warm on her skin. "Inside and out. How did I get so lucky that a storm brought you to my door?" "Maybe the universe knew we both needed this," she replied, running her hands across his broad chest, feeling the steady thunder of his heartbeat. Needed each other. Their lovemaking was tender and achingly slow, a conversation without words, where every touch communicated years of loneliness finally finding solace. Kale kissed every inch of her skin like a prayer of gratitude, and Lionel held him close, whispering his name like an incantation that could keep the darkness at bay. When they finally joined together, it felt like coming home after a long exile. They moved as one, building something sacred between their intertwined bodies, not just physical pleasure, but emotional healing, the knitting together of 2 broken souls into something stronger than either had been alone. Afterward, they lay wrapped in each other, legs tangled beneath warm blankets, hearts still racing. Kale pressed kisses to her forehead, her temple, her shoulder, anywhere he could reach without letting her go. I was wrong, he said quietly. The pain of caring isn't worse than the emptiness of not caring at all. Lionel smiled against his chest. We're both learning.